I think we move on to this point, yeah? Oh, thank you for that. The last speaker. Would you please welcome Mr. Mike has been a stalwart activist. Every now and then, a lot of people come within the party to help out, and are activists, and then there are super activists. And the work that Mike has done in West Wales and elsewhere, very much appreciated. West Wales Deputy Organiser, Mr. Mike Brinkman.
Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with figures and statistics because I know nothing about those. What I'm going to tell you is my view of the state of the United Kingdom as I see it. When we all stand outside in all weathers handing out leaflets, we can see the change in attitude of the public towards us. Sometimes we stand there and we're insulted by the government-sponsored lowlife who claim to be anti-fascist. They shout the same old dribble like the automatons that they are. But now people, the public, boo them. We've all seen how successive governments have destroyed the manufacturing and farming base in our land. We have seen how they have decimated the best fishing fleet ever seen in the world. We did nothing because they told us it was for the greater good of mankind. Yeah. They've conned us with the climate change line. This is all part of the greater plan, which started in Thatcher's years with the closing of the mines and the destruction of thousands of communities and dreams. Now this is deliberate. This happened here, where I live, and all over Britain. This was done for oil money, for bribes. There's no doubt in my mind about that. We know where that oil money comes from. This country would be completely energy independent if we still mined coal. Now, for years, South Africa, there was an embargo on South Africa. They couldn't import oil during the years of apartheid. They made petrol, diesel, oil, heating oil, gas and everything they wanted out of coal. They still do. The company's called Sasol. The same is happening in Australia now. They're trying to become oil independent by setting up their own firms to do the same. And in India. They're all trying to do it independently, although I think that India is trying to buy the patent from South Africa, which incidentally was the same method that was used by the Nazis during the Second World War. During the time that the mines are being shut, thousands of honest men and their wives fought for their jobs and their livelihoods. But these people were effectively starved into submission by the corrupt politicians that we've got in this land. Believe it or not, at the time, the greater British public thought they'd won a great victory against the miners because they were fighting Arthur Scargill, and the miners were his troops. And he sacrificed them for his own ends. As my view, might not be everybody's view, but the miners lost because of policies. We celebrated it now, how wrong we were. We should have kept the mines. If we had the mines now... If we had the mines now, we had a national industry, we'd have a steel business which could survive on cheap coal, on good coal, and the best coal in the world. My son works in a steelworks in Marden very sporadically. They won't give him a full-time contract. He works in an environment where for every 10 of them, there's one Indian. They're not doing any work, they're just trying to steal the principles and the theories and the methods of making steel. Now the guys who work on the top of the blast furnaces won't tell them how they do it. They won't tell them the formula, because they know if they do, they lose their jobs. But Tapper's business in the steelworks, by buying British steel, or whatever it was called then, Chorus, was so he could strip it of the best machinery in the world, the best strip mills in the world, and surely, when the time comes, he will take those over to India, when they've learned how to make steel. And I believe something far more sinister caused this, and that is called money. And it was European money to ruin our farming industry. We've been mugged by the bankers who knew very well what they were doing when they bought toxic debts using our money. We then had to pay again to bail them out, whilst they pay themselves billions of pounds in bonuses, and we could do nothing about it at all, absolutely powerless. We've watched helplessly as they send our money abroad to those who do not deserve it, whilst our pensioners freeze and starve to death. I know that was mentioned before, but I thought I'd remind you about it again. They are sending our money abroad, and what can we do about it? Absolutely nothing, because the Conservatives and the Liberals, whoever gets into power, will continue to do it. We've seen 2 million of our jobs given to foreigners, whilst our workers lose their homes and very futures. They tell us that most European migrant workers have returned home. Not so, not according to the Polish people and the Estonians. They haven't seen them back there, they're still here, don't worry about it. They're in the black economy. Why is it they tell us these lies all the time? Why do our government tell us our lies? Because we're used to it. We're ingrained to it, we don't take any notice of it. Our national health hospitals are in a worse state than those in the third world. We can see why. I know why. I spend a lot of time in hospital, but I can't tell you. I can't say so, because I'll be put in jail for being racist. And Iron Bevan is accredited with saying, from the cradle to the grave, but he never meant it to be an early one, did he?
No.
And we see our children brainwashed in school with PC rubbish. They leave school with worthless qualifications and are unable to read or write properly. And believe me, I believe that's part of the greater plan. They're dumbing down our education system. Now the last bit is going to be about me, because some people know me, some people don't. And it's a very emotive thing for me, sorry, so if I can't get through it, you'll have to excuse me. I'm 62 years old, and I apologise for being a once rampant heterosexual. I attended Surbiton County Grammar School in London and various other colleges of higher education when I returned back to Swansea, where my parents were married during the war. I'm a trained mechanical engineer and also served 20 years in the South Wales Constabulary. The last 15 years I was as a detective in the Vice Squad, Drug Squad, working undercover, completely undercover. And I finished off as a detective in the CID in Swansea. I know a bit about the world, and I can smell a villain or a criminal or a crook for miles. And whenever I get within 50 miles of Westminster, it smells like a bloody farmyard. My father was actually a chemist. He joined the army in the beginning of the war and rose to staff sergeant in the Royal Artillery. He served in India and then in Port Talbot at the radar establishment, which is still there up on the top of the hill above Margam. If you drive past, you can see a framework on the right-hand side if you're going west. And he spent his time shooting down Dorniers and things like that, who were trying to destroy the steelworks. But his name wasn't Green. Sorry about this. His name was Greenberg, and he was a Jew. My name is spelled Michael, M-I-K-A-L, and my mother called me Mihailovich. His extended family escaped from the hell in Russia in 1916, where they were being persecuted by the Bolsheviks and the Cossacks. No others managed to get to Britain. They stayed off in nice Austria. They were fools, weren't they? There's not one of them left. Not one single one of them. Now you see why I don't like people who call me a bloody Nazi. And those people who stand up and call me a Nazi when I'm standing up trying to sell BNP literature or give stuff away, I hate them with a vengeance. I hate all the politicians, I hate the people that support them, I hate the press. Thank you for listening to me. I'm sorry about the last little bit, but I do find it rather annoying when they call people like us, who've only got the spirit of our country in our hearts, when they call us Nazis and all the nasty names they do. They're not worth spitting on, to be honest with you, and the sooner we get into power, the better.